Hi friends and welcome to CareersTalk. Today we will be sharing business analyst interview questions from a client round at TCS shared by a WhatsApp group member. And the client is Goldman Sachs, a well-known finance company in the USA specializing in investment banking, securities and investment management. So few questions are unexpected and for experienced business analysts. So watch complete session and do not skip any part. And before we start, if you are new, don't forget to subscribe to CareersTalk. This channel has helped thousands of business analysts to crack their interviews. And if you find this session helpful, please hit that like button. So let's get started. Okay, friends. So don't forget to check the business analyst playlist. Link is into the description where you will find tons of real interview questions. So without further delay, let's dive into our Q&A session. Okay, so the very first question is that you have been given a project that need a lot of data mining and visualization. So can you talk about the tools which you have used and what are the challenges which you have faced and how you resolve those challenges? So I primarily use Python, especially libraries like Pandas for managing data and NumPy for numerical calculation. So this Python is very flexible, making it easy to handle large data sets and perform tasks like cleaning, filtering, and transferring raw data for analysis. I also use SQL to pull data from database. So many IT systems store data in database and SQL helps efficiently to retrieve the needed data. So being skilled in SQL is important for assessing and combining data from different sources smoothly. For visualizing data, I used Tableau and Power BI. Now these tools are user friendly and offer various options for creating dashboards and reports that stakeholders can easily understand. Now visualizations are key to presenting complex information in a simple way. But however, there were challenges, and the one common problem was data quality. So for example, there's a missing or inconsistent values. To fix this, I use data cleaning methods like filling in missing values or removing the incomplete records to keep the analysis accurate. Another challenge was combining data from a different data sources with different formats. Now this required careful data handling to create a unified data set for analysis. So I use method like data normalization or joining to merge the data set effectively. Apart from that, we have to make sure that the analysis could handle large data volumes efficiently. That's again very important. So I use optimization techniques like parallel processing or cloud solutions to speed up the process and avoid the slowdowns. And in the last, clear communication with the stakeholders was essential to ensure that the insights were useful and aligned with the business goal. So I focus on understanding their needs and customizing the visualization to include all the relevant matrices, helping them to make a informed decision. So that's the simple answer for this question. Okay, so this is again a tricky, I think most common faced challenge. So how would you handle a situation where your team inform you that a user story is technically unfeasible to implement, and while your client is pressurizing you to deliver this feature quickly? So how do you manage the expectations of both the client and the developers, and how do you find a resolution? So friends, I will take some time to explain this thing in detail. So navigating the balance between the client demand and technical feasibility is a common challenge for a business analyst. And in this particular situation, clear communication, collaboration, and problem solving are the key finding to resolution that satisfy both the client and the development team. So the very first thing which we are supposed to do is that I would have a detailed discussion with the team to fully understand why the user story is technically unfeasible. Now, this involves asking specific questions to identify the exact challenge, whether they are related to a system limitation, or whether they are related with the resource constraint, or there is an issue with the time requirements, or there might be a number of factors, right? So by understanding the technical blockers, I can better communicate these challenges to the client and explore the alternative solutions. After understanding the technical constraint, I would work with the team to brainstorm the potential alternatives. Now, this might involve simplifying the feature or break it down into smaller, more manageable components, or identifying a different approach that achieve the client objectives without overstepping the technical boundaries. Now, the goal here is to find a compromise that aligns with the team's capability while still delivering the value to the client. So once I have a clear understanding of the technical limitations and possible alternatives, I would communicate with the client. Now it's important to be transparent and explain why the original user story cannot be implemented as planned, right? And we should use a non-technical language to ensure that they fully understand the situation. So I would then present the alternative solutions which we have identified and discuss how these alternatives could still meet their core objective, potentially with some adjustment in scope or timeline. So I would work to manage the client expectations by discussing the trade-offs that involve in any proposed alternatives. So if the client is demanding on the original feature, I would negotiate a realistic timeline that allow the team to find a technical feasible solution. On the other hand, if the client is open to compromise, we could agree on a phase approach where a simpler version of the feature is delivered first with the possibility of enhancement later on. Now, throughout this process, I would act as a mediator between the client and the team, ensuring that both sides are kept informed and their concerns are addressed. So, regular check ins and meetings would be scheduled to keep the project on track and to make any necessary adjustment as the new information will available. Now, the focus would be on promoting a collaborative environment where the client feel heard and the team feels supported. That's the two important aspect. Once a path forward is agreed, I would document the updated user story, including any changes to the scope, timeline, or deliverables. This document basically will going to share with both the client and the development team to ensure that everyone is aligned and clear on the next steps. So keeping a record of these decisions is important for accountability and for reference in any future issues arise. And finally, I would closely work with the team to monitor the progress and ensure that the agreed upon solution is being implemented efficiently and effectively. So I would also keep the client updated on the progress and any potential risk that could impact the delivery. See, the aim here is to ensure that despite the initial challenges, the feature is delivered on time and meets the client needs to the greatest extent possible. So by taking this structured and a collaborative approach, I can effectively balance the technical realities with the client expectations, and that lead to a solution that is both feasible and satisfactory to all the parties involved. So this could be a sample answer. Okay, so before we move on, we would like to welcome all our new business analyst subscriber who watched this session entirely to join our business analyst WhatsApp group, where we share all these interview questions and jobs and all these small discussions which we have. So if you want to just join, just hit that like button and comment subscribe. Once you put this word subscribe in the comment box, I will connect with you and I will share the details with you. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, so next question is on the risk, that how you are going to address the risk in your project, how you going to identify and come up with some mitigation strategies. Okay, so that's the question. So first I start by carefully examining the entire system, entire financial system. So this means that looking at things like data source, software systems, all the processes, all the regulations, to basically understand how they work together and they affect each other. So one key strategy is to analyze the data in detail. So we have different IT tools, like I look at the historical data to spot some patterns or some unusual activities or some potential problems. So for example, I might use data mining techniques to find irregularities in the transaction record or to identify any suspicious action that could signal a fraud or a security issues. I also work closely with people from different departments, different teams, such as compliance officer or a risk manager or different IT professionals. So by sharing and keeping the communication open, we can better identify and assess the risk together. Another important part of my approach is to staying up to date with the new technologies and the industry trend. So in this fast changing world of IT and finance, new technologies like blockchain, AI, and cloud computing can bring both opportunities and risk. So by understanding this development, I can assess their impact on the financial system and suggest a ways to manage any potential risk. Once I identify these potential risks, I prioritize them based on the how serious they are and how likeliable they are going to be happen in future. Now, this helps us to focus on the most critical issues or risks first. So, for example, if I find a weakness uh, in a company cybersecurity, I would prioritize the strengthening the security measure to reduce the risk of a data breach. I also believe in continuous monitoring and evaluation. So risk can change over time. So it's important to have a system in place to keep an eye on things and quickly spot any new risk. So I set up key performance indicators to track how well the risk is being reduced. And finally, I promote a culture of risk awareness and accountability within the organization. So by encouraging all this transparency, we are making sure that everybody understand their role in a risk management, and employees are more likely to be spot and report the potential risk first. So this way everyone contribute to keep the financial system stable. So that's a sample answer. So next question is, can you describe a complex project where you conduct a cost benefit analysis? Okay, so you can, yeah, come up with some sort of example. Let's say I worked on a complex project where we implemented a new ERP system for a large multinational company. Now the goal was to make a business process more efficient and improve the data management across the different teams and different interdependent departments. Now the very first thing is we should do is that identify all the cost. Now there are various types of costs. For example, we have software fee, we have hardware costs, we have training expense, and maybe the possible downtime during this particular switch. So I also listed the benefits such as improved productivity, fewer manual error, and the better reporting capabilities. So you can note it down both of the things. Now I also use the past data, industry standards, or expert advice to estimate the cost and the benefits as accurately as possible. So for example, I looked at a similar ERP project in other companies to predict the potential cost overrun or the saving. And I also talked to the key stakeholder to understand the expected productivity gains. Since there were uncertainties, I did also a thorough risk assessment to find out potential challenges and their impact. So I used sensitivity analysis to see how changes in key assumptions could affect the outcome. Now, this involved creating a different scenarios and assessing their likelihood and impact. Now, to ensure a thorough analysis, I use various financial modeling techniques like NPV, which is net present value, internal rate of return, IRR, and payback period analysis to evaluate the project financial viability. I also use Monte Carlo simulation to account for uncertainties and provide a range of possible outcomes in place of just one prediction. Now, throughout this process, I work closely with key stakeholders from finance, IT, and operations to gather input, validate the assumptions, and to ensure the analysis is aligned with the company's goal. I presented the finding clearly, highlighting the key insights and the trade-offs to help the senior management to make an informed decision. In the end, the detailed cost benefit analysis gave decision makers a valuable insight, helping them to weigh their risk and reward of this particular ERP implementation. So it supported the investment decision. It ensured the resources were allocated effectively and contribute to the successful implementation of the new systems, delivering the real benefit to the company. Okay, so the next question is that you are responsible for ensuring the data accuracy and integrity in the financial reporting for a company. So what process or different techniques or tools which you are going to use to maintain the data accuracy and integrity? Okay, so this is how I'm going to approach this particular question. That I set up, first of all, I'll set up a centralized data governance framework with clear rules and standards for managing the data across all the business units. So for example, in a banking setting, I create a policies that define roles, responsibilities, and the data quality matrices for each development, each department that involve in the financial reporting. The second thing is I used tools like Trifacta and Informatica to automatically check for the discrepancies and errors in the financial data. Now, these tools allow us to monitor and fix the data quality issues in real time that ensure the accuracy at every reporting stage. Apart from this, I also standardized the way data was mapped and integrated across different systems. Now, this involved creating the templates and formats to ensure that data from various sources could be easily combined. So, for example, I use data models like financial product markup language, which is FPML, in banking that will integrate data from different business units into a financial reporting systems. I also promote collaboration across different business units by setting up a regular communication and the cross-functional meetings. Now, this helps everyone to stay aligned and work together to resolve any data discrepancies. So we'll also take an initiative like data quality workshops and interdepartmental trainings where key is to improve the data accuracy and the integrity. I also implement continuous monitoring and auditing processes to regularly check and validate the data. So there are auditing tools like ACL and IDEA, which is IDEA, that were used to conduct a comprehensive audits of financial data. We ensure that compliance with both regulatory requirement and internal standard has to be maintained. Apart from this, I also invested in data governance technologies like master data management, which is MDM, and the data lineage tools. So for example, there are few tools that will track data across the different systems and ensure the accountability. We have for example, we have IBM InfoSphere that will help us to create a single accurate source of customer data across multiple banking systems to improve the overall data integrity. So yeah, by using all these processes and technologies, I was able to maintain the data accuracy and integrity in this financial reporting. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this is interesting. So you are developing a financial projection for a company in an industry that is currently facing disruption due to technology advancement like artificial intelligence. So how would you navigate or incorporate all these changing market conditions into your financial projections to accurately adapt the changing environment? So that's the question. Okay. So the very first thing is I would conduct a thorough research on the industry that is affected by AI disruption. So this involves understanding of how AI is being integrated into the industry, its impact on the existing processes, and any potential future development. So for example, in retail industry, AI powered systems are reshaping the customer experience and the supply chain management. So by leveraging my experience in finance and data analysis, I would gather the historical financial data from the company and the industry benchmark. I utilize the different statistical methods and forecasting techniques. So for example, we have something called time series analysis or regression models. So I would identify different patterns and trends among the disruption. Now this allow for the creation of a baseline projection. Now, given the uncertain nature of the technology disruption, I would develop multiple scenarios to account for different levels of AI adoption and its impact on the industry. Now, this could range from conservative scenarios where AI adoption is slow to an aggressive scenarios where AI disrupt traditional business model very rapidly. Now, each scenarios would have its own set of assumptions and financial projections. The next thing is understanding the risk associated with this AI disruption, which is again very important. So I would conduct a sensitivity analysis to assess how changes in key variables, for example, AI adoption rate or pricing strategies, will affect the financial outcome. So by quantifying the potential impact of these risks, I can better prepare the company for a different scenarios. Now, again, collaboration with industry experts and technology specialists is again important for getting the insight into this AI trend and their implications. So we have to engage in the dialogues with different thought leaders. We should attend different conferences and participate in the industry forums that can provide the valuable perspective that inform the financial projections. So depending on the company's position within the industry, I would evaluate the potential benefit of the integrating AI technologies into its operations. Now, this might involve assessing the ROI of AI investment, and we can also consider different factors like cost saving, efficiency gains, and the revenue growth opportunities. Now, all these financial projections should not be a static document, right? It should be a dynamic tool that evolve with the changing market condition. So we should regularly monitor the industry development, our what our competitors are doing, any other technical advancement which is important, right? So all these things will allow us for a timely adjustment to our projections, and that will ensure the that our estimation are remain accurate and relevant. So yeah, I mean, by doing all these things, I aim to develop a financial projections that are robust, adaptable, and reflective of the evolving landscape shaped by the AI disruption. So yeah, this approach will help the company to make informed decisions. Okay.